Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday morning, Holy Tuesday of Holy Week, and we're continuing our short series of daily reflections which help us to engage on the story of Jesus as he moves from Palm Sunday through to Easter Sunday. Welcome if you're joining us from anywhere in the world. I know there's people been tuning in from all over the place. I think as far as Lebanon on Sunday I found, and I know across Great Yarmouth, Galston, and across the UK, people have been tuning in. So hello if that's you, wherever you are. Really glad and kind of honoured that you choose to spend some time listening to me ramble on and offer some reflections. This morning we are reflecting upon the story of Jesus being anointed at Bethany. And the story comes from Matthew chapter 26, and it's verses 6 through to 13. And I'm going to read them to us in a second. You might recall yesterday I said that you need to have a bottle of perfume or aftershave at hand. Well, you don't have to, but I encourage you to if you do, and that will become relevant in a moment. So if you've not and you've forgotten about it, maybe quickly press pause, go and find that, grab it, come down, and then listen as we go through this. And so I'm going to read Matthew 26, verses 6 through to 13. While Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of a man known as Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. "Why this waste?" they asked. "This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor." Aware of this, Jesus said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. I tell you the truth. Whenever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." The disciples are given a lesson in adoration. And what we see here is a beautiful display of worship. If you've got your bottle of perfume or aftershave, now's the time to pick it up. I've got a bottle of Tom Ford, which was still pretty expensive even at duty-free prices in the airport. So it's not one that I just go splashing about liberally just to go to Tesco. If you've got your bottle, have a look, open it up, and have a little spray to let the scent fill your nostrils and the air around you. Oh yeah, that is nice. Haven't used it in a little while. I'm not wasting this in isolation. So it's quite nice to have a sniff of it again. As you smell that perfume or that aftershave, how would you feel if I asked you to give that bottle to someone? Perhaps if you've nearly finished it, that wouldn't be such a hard task. But if it's a brand new bottle, you might not be so willing. When the woman comes to Jesus and pours the perfume over his head, it's not a little 50ml cheap bottle of scent made by a footballer's wife. No, this is the real deal. This is the proper stuff. And it's a whole jar full. She does it because she recognises that Jesus is worth even more than that perfume. She does it because she recognises that this might be the only chance she has to show her love for him. She does it because whilst others think she's wasteful, she recognises she's worshipful. Perhaps this is a little oversimplistic and perhaps even a little bit gender typecasting, but I don't think it's a surprise that it is a woman who is upheld as the model for adoration, in contrast to the male disciples and their very practical response, which mistakes beauty for waste. They think their reaction is one of being practical, even compassionate. But Jesus' response marries the beauty of the act with simple logic. He says, "She has done a beautiful thing to me. Whilst you will always have the poor, you will not always have me. She did this to prepare me for burial." He's saying that she's making the most of me whilst I'm still here. We could go even further to say that her act is prophetic. What's more, when we adore God and we allow that adoration to flow into costly acts of sacrifice and giving, we are reminded that such displays of affection for God are never wasteful. It can never be wasteful to adore God. It's a beautiful thing. And it's a lesson in worship that I think we need to hear and to learn from. Do you adore Jesus? Does your worship extend into the realms of adoration? How do you demonstrate that? In times of difficulty, acts of beauty tend to stand out even more than usual. Many in our society are, like the woman in the story, performing beautiful acts of service in order to prepare people for death. I think of our chaplains at the hospital, doctors, nurses, support staff, funeral directors. The list goes on and on. As we read this next step in Christ's journey to the cross, what beautiful thing might we do for Jesus? Something generous, something unexpected. Maybe bake a cake, leave it on your neighbour's doorstep. Maybe sit down and take time to handwrite a letter to someone you love to encourage and bless them. Perhaps it is a costly gift. Dare we buy a perfume for someone who we know is perhaps feeling low at the moment? Maybe with a simple anonymous note to remind them that they are beautiful in God's eyes. In your own time today, I encourage you to reflect upon this story and to prayerfully consider what beautiful thing you might do. As well as these reflections, I've also been offering this week maybe a painting or a song that might help accompany us in our considerations. And a song that I found helpful that's perhaps relevant today has been a modern twist on a classic hymn. Daigle's "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus" is a beautiful song, and if you are aware of Lauryn Hill and her style of music, it kind of has echoes of that, I think. And if you know Lauryn Hill, you know that's a big compliment. So I encourage you, maybe if you're looking at this on YouTube, to, when you're finished, Google Lauren Daigle and "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus" and allow those words to help focus your mind on Christ as you reflect. Tomorrow, we're going to continue in our journey, looking at Jesus' story. And the item that you'll need to have to hand are some coins, a handful of coins, silver ones if you've got them, but it doesn't matter really, any coins will do. So have a look, raid your piggy banks and have a look for a handful of coins to have with you as we continue our journey and reflections through this Holy Week. Bless you, and I will see you tomorrow.